The United States of America 1990, D quarter dollar, bearing the United States of America 1990, D quarter dollar, bearing the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, is a representative example of one of the most familiar coins in American life, the Washington quarter. This coin, although common in circulation, embodies a deep connection between America's founding ideals, artistic tradition, and the enduring legacy of its first president, George Washington. Minted in 1990 at the Denver Mint, as indicated by the D Mint mark on the obverse side, this quarter serves not only as currency, but also as a piece of living history, connecting modern citizens to nearly a century of American numismatic and cultural evolution. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, replacing the standing Liberty quarter. It was created to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, 1732 to 1932. The design was chosen after a public competition authorized by Congress, but the winning model came from a sculptor named John Flanagan, whose portrait of Washington was based on an 18th-century bust sculpted by the French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon. Houdon's bust was widely considered the most accurate likeness of Washington ever created, and Flanagan's adaptation captured the president's calm dignity and strong character. The Washington quarter's design remained largely unchanged for more than 60 years, making it one of the most enduring designs in American coinage. The obverse front of the 1990 D quarter features a left-facing bust of George Washington. Above his head, arched along the top rim, is the word Liberty in bold capital letters, symbolizing one of the most sacred principles of the United States. The motto, In God We Trust, appears to the left of Washington's portrait, a phrase officially adopted across U.S. coinage in the 1950s, but rooted in earlier 19th century usage. Beneath the portrait is the date, 1990, indicating the year the coin was struck. To the right of the bust, just above the date, is the mint mark D, denoting that this particular coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the U.S. Mint's main production facilities located in Denver, Colorado. The design of Washington's portrait reflects Flanagan's artistic intent to portray the president not as a mythic hero but as a man of strength, resolve, and calm leadership. Washington's gaze faces slightly upward and forward, signifying vision and determination. The finely detailed hair tied back in the colonial style of the 18th century is a hallmark of Flanagan's sculptural realism. The simplicity of the design, with its restrained composition and clear inscriptions, conveys the dignity and stability of the American Republic. The reverse, back, side of the 1990 D quarter displays the American bald eagle, an emblem of the United States since the late 18th century. The eagle stands proudly, wings spread wide in a posture of vigilance and authority. In its talons, it holds a bundle of arrows, symbolizing the nation's readiness to defend its liberty and sovereignty. Beneath the eagle is a laurel wreath, a classical symbol of victory, achievement, and peace. Together, these elements express a balance of strength and tranquility, the power to protect and the desire to live in peace. Above the eagle's head is the Latin motto, E Pluribus Unum, which translates to out of many one. This phrase reflects the unity of the states forming a single nation, a foundational concept of American identity. Encircling the upper rim are the words United States of America, proclaiming the coin's national origin, while the denomination quarter dollar is engraved along the lower rim. The careful symmetry of the reverse design, with the eagle centered between inscriptions, conveys order and strength, essential virtues of the American Republic. The metal composition of the 1990 D quarter is copper-nickel clad rather than silver, as silver was removed from general U.S. coinage in 1965 due to rising metal costs. The outer layers consist of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This results in a durable, corrosion-resistant coin with a silvery appearance, but no intrinsic precious metal value. The coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and features a reeded edge, small vertical grooves running around the circumference. Historically, Reeded edges were used to deter coin clipping when coins contained precious metal, but by 1990 they remained as a traditional aesthetic feature and tactile identifier. The Denver Mint, responsible for producing the 1990 D-quarter, has a long and respected history within the U.S. mint system. Established in the early 20th century, the Denver Mint became known for high-volume coin production with consistently strong strikes and good quality control. In 1990, the Denver facility minted more than 927 million Washington quarters, making the 1990 D one of the most common issues of its era. Despite its ubiquity, next top. The 1991 United States of America quarter dollar is a significant representation of the long and respected Washington quarter series, one of the most enduring and recognizable coinage designs in American history. It is not just a piece of metal used for commerce. It is a symbol of American heritage, artistry, and continuity. The letter P mint mark indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historic mints in the world, established in 1792 under the direction of the U.S. government and the guidance of the first U.S. Mint director, David Rittenhouse. The 1991 quarter belongs to a time when the United States was transitioning from the Cold War era into a new decade of technological advancement, economic change, and renewed national identity. Though it might appear ordinary in the hand, every element of this coin, from its inscriptions to its metal composition, tells a story of craftsmanship, symbolism, and the ideals that have shaped the United States for over 2 centuries. On the obverse front of the coin, the central feature is the portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, whose leadership, moral integrity, and vision for the young republic laid the foundation for American democracy. This portrait was designed by John Flanagan in 1932, when the coin was first introduced to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth. The image of Washington is based on a sculpture created by the French artist Jean-Antoine Houdon in 1786, considered one of the most accurate and lifelike representations of Washington. The portrait faces left, showing Washington in profile, with finely detailed hair tied back in a colonial-style queue, symbolizing dignity, discipline, and the classical ideals of the 18th century. Above the portrait, in bold capital letters, is the word liberty, serving as a timeless reminder of the most cherished American principle, the freedom and self-determination of all people. To the left of Washington's neck is inscribed the national motto, "In God We Trust," a phrase officially adopted for use on all U.S. coinage in the mid-20th century, expressing the nation's recognition of divine guidance and moral responsibility. Beneath the portrait is the date, 1991, indicating the year of minting, and just to the right of the ribbon in Washington's hair is the small P mint mark, denoting the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse, back, of the coin features the heraldic eagle design, another enduring symbol of the United States. The bald eagle, with wings spread majestically, represents courage, strength, and independence. The eagle clutches a bundle of arrows in its talons, a traditional emblem of defense and preparedness, signifying that America will protect its freedom when necessary. Below the eagle, a wreath of olive branches encircles the lower design, representing the nation's desire for peace and reconciliation. Above the eagle's head is the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This motto, which has appeared on U.S. coins since the late 18th century, celebrates the unity of the original 13 colonies that came together to form one nation, as well as the ongoing diversity of peoples and cultures that contribute to the fabric of the United States. Encircling the design at the top edge are the words United States of America, while the denomination quarter dollar appears along the bottom, both inscriptions reinforcing the coin's national identity and official value. The 1991 quarter is made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, which consists of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel bonded over a pure copper core. This composition has been standard since 1965, following the removal of silver from circulating coinage due to the rising cost of silver and its hoarding by the public. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, a thickness of 1.75 millimeters, and a reeded edge consisting of 119 fine grooves. The reeded edge not only adds texture and aesthetic appeal but historically served as a deterrent to clipping or shaving bits of precious metal from the edges of coins when they were made of silver or gold. The surface of the 1991 P quarter, when freshly struck, has a brilliant metallic sheen, which over time dulls to a soft gray luster as the coin circulates and interacts with the environment. In terms of mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced an impressive total of over 630 million quarters in 1991, making this one of the more common issues of the series. However, even in its abundance, each coin represents a piece of the national story, a daily reminder of the continuity of American currency and the artistry that goes into every strike. While billions of these coins have passed through the hands of everyday citizens in vending machines, parking meters, and stores, uncirculated specimens, those that have never been used and retain their original mint luster, next top. The 1992 United States quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin bears the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, a sculptor who adapted his design from Jean-Antoine Houdon's 18th-century bust of Washington. On the obverse, or head's side, the inscriptions include Liberty prominently above Washington's head, In God We Trust to the left, and the mint mark D, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint, located just to the right of the ribbon at the base of Washington's ponytail. Below the portrait appears the date, 1992. These inscriptions are hallmarks of American coinage design and reflect both the nation's founding ideals and the religious sentiment embedded in U.S. currency. The reverse, or tails side, of the 1992 D quarter features an eagle with outstretched wings, perched upon a bundle of arrows with two olive branches beneath it, a design that symbolizes the balance between peace and strength. The eagle's pose, strong yet controlled, was also created by Flanagan and remained a staple of the Washington quarter design from 1932 through 1998, before being replaced in 1999 by the state quarter series. Around the reverse rim are the inscriptions United States of America at the top, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, just above the eagle's head, and quarter dollar at the bottom. These words express the unity of the states forming one nation and remind collectors of the deep symbolism built into U.S. numismatic art. The Denver Mint struck over 389 million Washington quarters in 1992, a very high mintage, meaning that most 1992 D quarters are common in circulation and worth only their face value of 25 cents unless in uncirculated or proof condition. The Denver Mint, located in Colorado, has used the D mint mark since the early 20th century and is known for producing massive quantities of circulating coins for everyday commerce. A 1992 D quarter in average circulated condition typically shows noticeable wear on Washington's hair, cheek, and the eagle's wings, but the inscriptions remain readable. However, uncirculated examples, graded mint state, MS 60 and above, can be worth $1 to $10, while exceptionally well-preserved or high-grade pieces, MS 67 or higher, may fetch $25 to $100 or more depending on the market and grading service. Compositionally, the 1992 D quarter is made from a copper-nickel-clad alloy, specifically an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This metallic composition replaced the 90% silver alloy used in quarters before 1965, following the Coinage Act of 1965, which ended silver circulation coinage due to rising silver prices. The coin's weight is 5.67 grams, its diameter 24.26 millimeters, and its edge is reeded, i.e., it has fine grooves around the rim, a traditional anti-counterfeiting measure dating back to early U.S. coinage that prevented people from shaving off precious metal. The clad quarter's silvery color, durability, and resistance to corrosion make it ideal for circulation, and billions of these coins remain in use today. The obverse legend, In God We Trust, has appeared on U.S. coins since the Civil War era, first authorized by Congress in 1864. symbolizing America's acknowledgement of divine guidance and faith in national destiny. Meanwhile, Liberty, placed above Washington's head, underscores one of the nation's founding principles, the pursuit of freedom and equality. Together with E pluribus unum on the reverse, these mottos reflect the philosophical trinity of American coinage: faith, freedom, and unity. The 1992 D-quarter thus serves not only as currency, but also as a small but potent emblem of American values, encapsulated in metal. Interestingly, 1992 marked the final year before the 1992 silver-proof quarters began production for collectors, signaling the U.S. Mint's growing interest in serving the numismatic market. While the Denver issues were for circulation, the San Francisco Mint produced proof versions with mirror-like fields and frosted designs for collectors, distinguishable by the S Mint mark. No silver circulation quarters were struck in 1992, though special silver-proof versions were included in collector sets. In numismatic circles, collectors sometimes search for errors or varieties among 1992 D-quarters. Common minor varieties include slight differences in die alignment, double die obverse, very rare, or weakly struck details from worn dies. Some collectors also look for off-center strikes, broad strikes, or clipped planchets, which can add moderate value depending on the severity and eye appeal of the error. A certified 1992 D Washington quarter graded MS 67 by PCGS or NGC with flawless surfaces and strong luster might sell for several dozen dollars, while coins with mint errors can range anywhere from $50 to next top. The 1993 P United States quarter dollar, part of the enduring Washington quarter series, stands as both a workhorse of American commerce and a small, elegant piece of national symbolism. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P Mint mark on the obverse, the head side, this coin represents one of the final years of the traditional Washington quarter design before the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. The obverse features the timeless portrait of George Washington, designed in 1932 by John Flanagan, based on a famous 18th-century bust created by the French sculptor Jean-Antoine Houdon. Washington faces left, his expression calm yet resolute, a portrayal meant to embody leadership, strength, and civic virtue. Surrounding the portrait are the inscriptions Liberty, above his head, and In God We Trust, positioned to the left. Beneath Washington's neck lies the date 1993, and just above it, the small P Mint mark identifying Philadelphia, the historic birthplace of American coinage, and the U.S. Mint itself, founded in 1792. The reverse of the 1993 P quarter continues the original Flanagan eagle design used since 1932. Centered on the reverse is a powerful bald eagle, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows, a symbol of strength, readiness, and national defense, while beneath it rests two olive branches, representing peace. Above the eagle's head is the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, which translates as out of many one, referring to the unity of the states forming one nation. Encircling the design are the inscriptions United States of America along the top rim and quarter dollar along the bottom, emphasizing both the issuing authority and the denomination. The design's balanced symmetry and classical simplicity reflect the traditional artistic values of the early 20th century, rooted in neoclassical ideals and the spirit of American patriotism. In terms of composition and specifications, the 1993 P quarter is made of a copper-nickel-clad alloy, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. This composition replaced the earlier 90% silver alloy used before 1965, following the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from circulating coins due to rising silver costs. The 1993 P quarter weighs approximately 5.67 grams, measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge, 119 reeds. The reeded edge, originally an anti-counterfeiting feature from the days of precious metal coinage, remains a traditional characteristic of U.S. quarters today. The clad composition gives the coin a silvery appearance, though its intrinsic metal value is less than its face value. The The coin's worth lies in its purchasing power and historical symbolism rather than its metal content. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 639 million Washington quarters in 1993, a large mintage that ensured ample supply for circulation. Because of this, most 1993 P quarters found in everyday change are considered common and are worth only 25 cents in circulated condition. However, coins in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially those preserved straight from mint sets or rolls, can hold numismatic value. For example, a 1993 P quarter graded MS 65 gem uncirculated may be valued around $2 to $5, while near-flawless examples graded MS 67 or higher can command $30 to $100 or more, depending on demand and market conditions. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC certify high-grade coins, and collectors prize examples with strong luster, sharp strike details, particularly on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, and minimal contact marks. The obverse motto, "In God We Trust," has appeared on U.S. coinage since the 1860s, a reflection of the nation's religious and cultural values during the Civil War era when Americans sought reassurance of divine providence. On the quarter, it stands beside Washington's portrait, aligning faith with leadership. The word liberty, emblazoned above, symbolizes the founding ideal of the United States, freedom, a principle George Washington himself defended during the Revolutionary War. Together, these inscriptions form a verbal and visual statement of America's moral and political foundation. On the reverse, E pluribus unum underscores the unity that defines the republic, the idea that diverse states and peoples can join as one nation under shared values. The combination of these mottos on the 1993 P quarter turns an everyday object into a miniature national emblem, a circulating reminder of what the United States stands for. By 1993, the Washington quarter had already been in production for more than 60 years, making it one of the most familiar and longest-running designs in U.S. numismatic history. It had survived wars, recessions, and cultural shifts while remaining largely unchanged, a testament to both the endurance of its design and the public's attachment to next top. The 1994 United States quarter dollar is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the Washington quarter has been one of the most enduring and recognizable coins in American circulation. The 1994 D quarter was minted at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the small letter D found just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse, front, side of the coin. On the obverse, the coin features the left-facing portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, with the inscriptions Liberty at the top, In God We Trust, to the left of the portrait, and the date, 1994, centered below. This side of the coin reflects a design steeped in tradition and national pride, symbolizing America's respect for leadership, liberty, and faith. The reverse back of the 1994 D quarter features the majestic American bald eagle with its wings spread wide, perched upon a bundle of arrows symbolizing strength and readiness for defense, while two olive branches beneath represent peace. Encircling the design are the inscriptions United States of America above and E pluribus unum, out of many one, just above the eagle's head, with the denomination quarter dollar below. This motto, one of the nation's earliest, signifies unity among the original 13 colonies and continues to be a proud emblem of the country's diverse, yet united character. The 1994 D quarter was struck in large numbers, approximately 880,034,110 pieces, at the Denver Mint, located in Colorado. Like most quarters minted after 1965, it is composed of a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The coin weighs about 5.67 grams, has a reading of 119 edge grooves, and measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter. The clad composition gives the coin its distinctive silvery color and durability, making it resistant to corrosion and well-suited for circulation. The Denver Mint, one of the most productive mints in the world, is known for producing coins marked with a D mint mark and for maintaining strict quality control standards. In the case of the 1994 D quarter, coins were mass-produced for everyday commerce, meaning most circulated examples are worth only face value, 25 cents. However, uncirculated or mint-state coins, especially those preserved in pristine condition with original luster, can hold greater numismatic value. In numismatic terms, the 1994 D quarter is considered a modern clad issue and is not rare, but high-grade specimens can attract collector interest. A mint state, MS, example graded MS 65 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC can fetch between $5 to $20, while near-perfect MS 67 or MS 68 examples, especially with sharp details and clean surfaces, may command significantly higher prices, sometimes exceeding $500 to $1,000 depending on eye appeal and rarity in that grade. Proof versions, struck at the San Francisco Mint with S mint mark, were made exclusively for collectors and feature mirror-like fields with frosted devices, but those are distinct from the Denver issues. The 1994 D quarter also has several die varieties and minor errors that can make certain specimens more valuable. Examples include double dies on the obverse or reverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or missing clad layers. Any such variation must be authenticated by a professional grader, as small imperfections are common in circulation strikes, but do not necessarily increase value unless they are significant minting anomalies. Culturally and historically, the Washington quarter holds a special place in American numismatics. Since its introduction during the Great Depression, the quarter has symbolized continuity and national stability. The 1994 issue came near the end of the Eagle Reverse design's long run, as it would be replaced in 1999 by the 50-state quarters program, which revolutionized modern coin collecting by introducing new designs for each U.S. state. Thus, the 1994 D quarter represents one of the final standard issues of the traditional Eagle Reverse, making it nostalgic for collectors who appreciate classic U.S. coinage before the turn of the millennium. Its inscriptions, Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, embody the enduring principles upon which the United States was founded. These three phrases connect freedom, faith, and unity in a tangible form that millions of Americans handle daily, often without realizing the profound symbolism behind the design. From a metallurgical perspective, the 1994 D quarter exemplifies the U.S. Mint's mastery of high-volume coin production and the transition from silver coinage to modern clad materials. Before 1965, quarters were struck in 90% silver, but rising silver prices prompted a shift to the current copper-nickel clad formula, a decision that